Eko Wellness Fair in collaboration with Lagos State Government, Lagos State Ministry of Health, Lagos State Ministry of Tourism. Thank you for coming. And without wasting any much time, we would like to invite the convener of the Eko Wellness to please welcome the commissioners. At the same time, welcome our welcome revisers.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Honourable Commissioner of Tourism and Commissioner of Health, for being here with us. The Eko Wellness Fair is part of the Lagos State Mental Health Month, and we're very, very excited to be here. So we want to just invite the Commissioner for Health to open the Lagos State Mental Health Month, and then the Commissioner of Tourism, this is her baby, so she will then also tell you more about this. So thank you, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
My colleague, Honourable Commissioner of Tourism, pharmacist Uzamat Akimbile Yusuf, members of the body of permanent secretaries. I have Dr. Ogoye's apologies. He would have loved to be here, but we greet him in absentia. We have some directors here from the Ministry of Health and several members of my team. Dr. Tolu Ajomale has the mandate for addressing mental health and wellness within the Ministry of Health. I can see there are several mental health advocates here. So I greet you from the Ministry of Health. And of course to Oyin Talabi for putting this together. I think this is a great idea, and we have no reservations whatsoever as a ministry and as a state. And I bring you greetings from Mr. Governor. He's fully aware of this event. I'd also like to say a special thank you to Ms. Teju Alakija for ensuring that I come here.
Yes.
And she had a very convincing story to tell, so that's why it was easier for me to be here. And I understand that my daughter is on the program, so it's even more reason for being here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen and members of the press. So, furthermore, I'd just like to say that this is a beautiful setting. I'm actually particularly fond of this place because it's almost like a little oasis in a city of, you can see the traffic outside and the chaotic hustle and bustle of Lagos, and you can come in here and have a relaxing environment, you can have a drink, and you can gain access to many of the natural exhibits that you see here. So we thank the proprietors of this place, who I know quite well.
Yeah.
And we thank them for creating this little haven for Lagosians to come and relax in. So I'd just like to say that the Ministry of Health has particularly targeted mental health and well-being in 2021. And we're doing this in a number of ways. We understand the pressures of megacities. We understand the stress that a lot of Lagosians go through in their day-to-day life. Just moving around the city is hustle enough. We understand that there are many pressures, particularly on our youth and other citizens of the state. So we are addressing this in a multi-sectorial way. Several ministries within the government are addressing issues of urban planning, decentralization, decongestion, regreening of the city. And for us in health, we are particularly involved with the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Agriculture and Physical Planning in a concept which we describe as One Health. And that essentially speaks to the fact that you can only be healthy as your environment, you can only be as healthy as the food you eat, and you can only be as healthy as the limitations of the amount of stress that you allow your physiology to absorb. Which is also why it's so important for us to partner with tourism, arts and culture, because we also believe in the Ministry of Health that recreation, arts and culture are a very significant component of your mental state and your well-being. And we certainly do a lot of work with the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. But specifically, we are obviously addressing the situation both from a preventative angle and from a curative angle. Now, of course, we don't want to see mental instability or general stress amongst our citizens. So we're doing a lot at the grassroots level to pick up potential triggers of mental unwellness. So that's operating through civil society and through our primary healthcare platform. That people in community are given the tools and the understanding of what may trigger or what the early signs of mental health could be. Now, I know that this is a wellness fair, but this year we're focusing on mental stability and mental well-being. So moving up from there, within our 27 general hospitals, we're trying to ensure that we have created the infrastructure to cope with mental health, that we also have trained personnel. And then at the apex of it, where we are about to commission probably the largest mental institution in West Africa. It's going to be a 500-bed psychiatric hospital. And it's going to be twinned also with probably another 1,000 beds for rehabilitation. And that's really a very long-term vision. And it speaks to Mr. Governor's interest in creating a center of excellence for the understanding of well-being and the attributes of balanced psychology and the perfection of the specialty of mental health. So to back all this up, we have a helpline, and I'm sure Dr. Ajamale will speak to that. And on that helpline, it's really there to allow citizens to reach out to us so that we can, initiate any activities that individuals may require as help from the Ministry of Health. There are many people walking around with, suicidal tendencies, with ideations of self-harm. So, they need avenues and opportunities to express themselves and to find or source or seek opportunities for help. So, generally speaking, we have, up to now, not paid very much attention to the holistic nature of well-being and mental health. And I think we are turning the corner now. And this kind of thing is definitely what we as government want to promote. We want to see more of this because government can't do everything. We certainly need you as our partners, and anything we can do to support you will be there. Not just in physical presence, but we will always be there to try and support you with resources and whatever else you may need. So on that note, I just want to congratulate you. I want to say that the government is very serious about what it says. When we want to partner with you, we're not joking. We will deploy a number of our members of our ministry to ensure that your project is sustainable and it's recreatable and it can grow and it can flourish. Because at the end of the day, we always say that prevention is always better than cure. And this is the kind of thing that will help our citizens improve their mental state, improve their well-being, and stop them from coming to our hospitals because we've given them an opportunity to feel balanced within their community. So congratulations, and I'd like to congratulate everybody here. And thank you very much for giving us as government the opportunity to partner with you.
Thank you.
All the best in your endeavors.
Well done.
Thank you very much, sir. So I will invite the Honourable Commissioner for Tourism to also give us her remarks. And must say, as soon as she heard about this project, she jumped on it. She said, yes, this is it.
Good morning, my dear colleague, my brother, my partner, my sitting partner, the cabinet. We're always together. Professor of Biomedical and Mr. COVID, as we all call him. So the director here seated and the convener of Eko Wellness, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed an honor to be here this morning, I must confirm. This is a project that I see as one of the few things that I think is low hanging on my master plan. The master plan of tourism, Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture has its sector. And one of the sector is medical and wellness, which it is important for us to promote. The mental health of individual determines the actual stability of the state. If we have a very balanced mental health, then the progress of that state is well assured. And in recent years, have not been seen as much as we need to be doing in that area. So immediately I saw the proposal, I see it as the best way to actually approach our mental health situation in Lagos State. The pandemic of COVID-19 has caused so much problem on our mental stability, and many of us will not even be aware the situation we find ourselves present when all the social activity of the state has been closed down, no activities in all our social events, and everything has been put on hold because of COVID-19. And many people like to go out and refresh themselves, bring the best of themselves, but since that has not been happening, it has affected many people psychologically and mentally. And with this event, I believe I want to encourage as much as people within and outside Lagos to glue to that platform and ensure that they go through all these things, and most importantly, our diet, our nutritional value. This, I'm sure, in another 1 week from the 1st of May till 7th of May, will be things we'll be discussing on this platform. So I really appreciate the convener for everything that he has put together, because when he sent the whole event to me, I was so amazed about the things, the team, and all the activities that they've lined up for this 1 week from the 1st of May till the 7th of May. And I believe it's a thing that the government of Lagos will continue to support. And also, I want to reiterate what my colleague just said about the government of Lagos. The team's agenda is what is being driven by this present administration. And we look at this team agenda, health is one of the major pillars of team's agenda, as well as tourism and entertainment. And these are the two major pillars that has come together to be functioning at this special occasion. So it is still of joy to us in Lagos State to actually be partnering with people of good minds and that has good products to deliver in Lagos State. And once again, I congratulate you. I wish you the very best. And rest assured that the Lagos State government will continue to support you as long as you are ready to do the right thing for us in Lagos State. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So we're going to move on outside and have some of the experiences that we have lined up for the week. Eko Wellness Network or Eko Wellness Fair is by Eko Wellness Network, which is a network of holistic and wellness practitioners here in Lagos both practitioners and service providers. So we have a lot of healthy food vendors and lifestyle products businesses. And interestingly enough, most of them are owned by or run by women. So we have some activities. So over the week, we have activities like workshops by psychotherapists. So Lagos Mind has also given us some practitioners, some psychotherapists that are going to be speaking with us. We have short films on mental health, because the press or the film industry really needs to depict mental health in a more accurate light. We have cooking demonstrations, like Commissioner mentioned, as well, because the way we eat, our food actually affects our mental well-being and our emotions as well. And we also have therapy stimulations. We have a lot of pockets of places across Lagos that people don't know to connect with. Like Commissioner said, this oasis is such a place that people can come here, lie on the floor, and just reconnect with themselves. And that's what it is that we're showcasing this whole week, the different therapies that people can connect with that will help improve their mental well-being, their prosperity, and their productivity. So we invite you to join us outside to actually test out or try out some of the experiences that we're going to be sharing with the Lagos public after this. I really want Dr. Bulu to say something. Special projects of mental health with Lagos State. So he heads Lagos Mind, and he's been working with us on this project. So just say the words.
Honourable Commissioners, I mean, I really shouldn't be saying anything after my August have opened, but we're very much in support and we're very excited to be here. It's a good way to launch as a lot of us may be aware, the month of May is the Mental Health Awareness Month. So this fair provides a great boost, a great platform to be able to start conversations around mental health in Lagos. There are a number of activities that we also have planned as a state for healthcare workers, for maternal mental health, for school mental health, for children's mental health in the month of May. And we're really excited to be here to start this program here now. And we look forward to future engagement with Eko Wellness.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hello, Nigeria. Hello, world. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Oyin Talabi, and I am with Eko Wellness Fair. Professor Abayomi and Commissioner for Health, Mrs. Abile Yusuf, they've said everything that we need to say, and we're really honored and humbled that they joined us and that they gave us their full support to bring this event to you. We have also partnered with many organizations. I mean, we were really lucky because a lot of people partnered with us. Well, I guess it's because we've all been affected by our mental well-being has been affected. The past few years have affected us all on three different dimensions: our physical dimensions by the COVID-19, on our mental dimension as well, because of the uncertainty a lot of us are facing, and our spiritual dimension, because right now everybody's faith is being tested. And so it's really interesting times, and so many people have partnered with us. A shout out to organizations like Society of Performing Arts, Arts in Medicine, Global Emerging Pathogens Treatment Consortium, SERPIN, the Suicide Research Prevention Initiative, and many, many others. So you'll see their logos going across the screen as we go along. But I would really encourage everyone to stay engaged. We have a whole week of very interesting things lined up for you, and all of them are just focused on giving us tools that would help us, that we can all use. Our facilitators are fantastic. So I'm also sitting down with my pen, looking to get tips from all of them. A rundown of what we have for you today. Today, we're going to start off with a therapy stimulation by Float Therapy Lagos. And then we're going to go into a talk with Dr. Chris Aboje, who is a psychotherapist from Lagos Mind. What you'll notice about the week is that we've curated it in a way that that the sessions are sort of building up on one another. So we're laying that foundation today with Dr. Chris, who's going to be telling us, who's going to be differentiating between mental health, mental well-being, and also what to watch out for in ourselves, because some of us are still going through post-traumatic stress from even the NSARS that happened here. So many of us have lost people, we're grieving, and with the way things are, we can't even hug each other to grieve together. So we have a progression going on. And so today, Dr. Chris will lay that foundation, and then we'll go on to a cooking demonstration like Commissioner mentioned. We'll have a cooking demonstration by Veggie Victory. And then after which, I will take you through a breath work and stretch session. Don't worry, I'll be kind. And then we will end with a short film on mental health. It's called A Letter to Depression. I mean, I have to say the short films, when we were screening those, this contest was put together by Africa Film Academy, the curators of the AMAA Awards. And so we had short films coming from across Africa, and they were just really pungent, and they showed that a lot of us are really going through things and would love to see more of this kind of depiction of mental health or mental health in the films that are coming out of Nollywood and across Africa. So without much ado, you still have me today. I'm your host for today, so I'll be sharing little things here and there. But without much ado, we're going to go straight to float therapy. We're going to show you a therapy stimulation. And what that is basically take you through a therapy, through someone's experience of a therapy. So, and we hope that you would come to Lagos to come and engage with some of these things that we're showing you. Some of them can be done virtual, some of them not. But those that cannot be done virtual, we hope that you will come to Lagos and come experience them. So I'm just going to call on the technical guys to show us, to take us through float therapy. If you have any questions, please send us by WhatsApp, or you can put it on our Facebook page or our YouTube page. By WhatsApp, the number to send that message to is 081 2390 8436. The number will be shown on the screen very shortly. So you can send us your questions there, and then we will answer them as we go along. So thank you very much for joining us today and this week. Share with your friends and with your family, and we look forward to more engagement with you. Thank you.
My name is Afi Badamosi, a beauty therapist. I'm here at Float Therapy for a flotation therapy session. 3, 2 of them being boys below 10. So stress is second nature to me. If you know, you know. So I'm so excited about this session and looking forward to it because I just need to de-stress and clear my mind. As part of the Eko Wellness Fair, I'm here to experience the flotation therapy session, which I've heard helps with mental well-being.
You're welcome to Flow Therapy Lagos. Flow Therapy is set up as a wellness center where you come to lie on the Epsom salt. This is particularly seen when people travel to Israel. You go to the Dead Sea, you want to lie down on the Dead Sea because it helps inflamed muscle, inflamed joint become eased up. So you feel that sense of God touched me in that water kind of feeling. So that is what you have come to do right here. And in fact, this is the first in Nigeria. There are 6 others in Africa, and the 6 of them are in South Africa. So this is the first in Nigeria. Now, what you will notice when you get on the salt is that, first of all, it lifts you up. So that levitating feeling, it's like being without gravity for an extended period of time. It makes meditation a lot easier. It's just you and your mind. The fact that when you are in the salt is so when it seeps into your skin, it causes all those feel good hormones happening, the endorphins. You begin to feel happy. But when our magnesium, we start seeing things like insomnia. So for anxiety, where you are worried about something but you don't know what exactly you are worried about, that is exactly what therapy does. So an amazing calmness. Go to the Dead Sea, you want to lie down the Dead Sea because it helps inflamed muscle, become eased up. So you feel that sense of God touched me feeling. So what you have come to do right here. And in fact, in Nigeria, there are 6 others in Africa, and the 6 of them are in South Africa. So this is the first in Nigeria. Now, what you will notice when you get on the salt is that, first of all, it lifts you up. So that levitating feeling without gravity for an extended period of time, meditation a lot easier. So when you're there, you're all in with your subconscious mind. It makes you think a lot better, clearer. No technology again. It's just you and your mind. So first of all, a lot of people come in here and the fact that when the magnesium your skin, so when it into your skin, it causes all those feel good hormones happening, things you begin to feel happy. And then also in fact that when our bodies are depleted of magnesium, things like insomnia. So for anxiety, where you are worried something but you don't know what exactly you are worried about. So exactly what this therapy does. Once you finish, you have a sense of an amazing calmness.
Wow, that was an amazing experience because I never really thought I could float in water. Whenever I go into the swimming pool, I make sure my feet touches the floor of the pool and my head is over the water. So the fact that I could relax and float on it was really an amazing experience. And then I had this relaxing music that was soothing me softly, and I was just about drifting off, but hey, life is good, but most times it gets cut short. And as some of the other things that I would done, so but it was really a wonderful experience which I would recommend to anyone.
Wow, nice one, Afi. I'm glad you enjoyed that. When I had my experience of it, it was fantastic. It was really fantastic. I'll encourage everyone to check out float therapy. Check out our IG page for their IG for their IG connection. But you can also check them on Instagram at Float Therapy Lagos. We're going to move also ongoing now before we move on to the next session. Sorry, my head looks a little wonky. But ongoing to the next session, we're going to, I need to remind you that we have online shopping. So that's a big part of Eko Wellness, because we tell you to live a certain way, or we encourage you to live a certain way, eat a certain way. We also make those services and products available to you. So we connect with a lot of healthy food and healthy lifestyle service providers and service providers. So if you go to our Flutterwave store, it's or you can go through our website as well, ekowellness.net, and you'll see a tab there that says store. That would take you to our Flutterwave landing page that lists all the stores that are participating in the fair this year. So you can shop for organic foods, you can shop for healthy foods, and different products. I think flow therapy is also in there, so you can also book a session from there. So going on, moving right along, we're going to have Dr. Chris Aboje is going to set the foundation for us on helping us to clarify. He's going to be talking about mental well-being, mental health, what's the difference and how to cope. So he's going to be taking us, setting that foundation for us so that we're all clear on what it is. He will touch on what it is that we should look out for in ourselves, and then what we can look out for in others so that we'll know, and then how we can cope. Dr. Chris is a consultant, clinical psychologist and psychotherapist, and he's also a trainer. Dr. Chris, when you come on, maybe you can also clarify to us the difference between psychologist and psychotherapist as well, because we tend to use that interchangeably. He's spent many years in mental health treatment, research, and training. He's passionate about working with young adults and teenagers, and which is a very important demographic for us. And he's also a member of many professional bodies, including the Nigerian Association of Clinical Psychologists and the British Psychological Society. He's coming to us from Lagos Mind. Lagos Mind is the Lagos State Ministry of Health department that is focused on mental health and mental well-being. So Dr. Chris, it's awesome to have you. He'll come on line. So let's enjoy that session with Dr. Chris. My hair just so wonky.
Okay, so it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be talking about mental health, the difference between mental health and mental well-being. My name is Chris Aboje. I'm a clinical psychologist and a psychotherapist. And so to answer the question of what's the difference between a psychotherapist and a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, I think the major difference would be that a psychotherapist can be a psychiatrist or a psychologist who has gotten additional training in psychological interventions, psychotherapy generally. So it's the fact that you don't have to be a psychologist, you can be a psychiatrist or clinical psychologist, but you've gotten extra training. But a psychologist, on the other hand, has gotten higher level of education in psychology. Now, for a clinical psychologist, you have gotten training in clinical psychology, and your major area of specialty or expertise would be in assessment, psychological assessment, as well as psychotherapy, that if you go ahead to get additional training in psychotherapy. I hope that answers this. So I'll be talking about mental health and mental well-being, which is something that a lot of us sometimes use, interchangeably. So we would sometimes say, "Oh, mental well-being, mental health," but is there a difference? Is there a difference? If there's a difference, what's that difference, and what can we do to improve or maintain our mental health or mental well-being? But before I start, I would like to just look at a few myths surrounding mental health and try to bust the myths, basically. So I think that a very common myth about mental health related issues, especially depression, is that people think that depression is a function or a factor that's related to a weak personality. Some people also say that people who are depressed can easily snap out of it. So I would say that that's a myth. It has nothing to do with how weak your personality is. Some people also believe that mental health related issues are, as a result of a spiritual attack, or people who experience mental health issues are not spiritual enough. Especially they'll say, "Oh, you're either ungrateful. Why don't you thank God?" Or why, it has nothing to do with how spiritual or how religious you are. Yes, spirituality can play a factor in helping us build resilience and maintain a positive mental health. But the fact that a person breaks down with a mental illness doesn't mean that they are not spiritual enough. Another myth that I most times hear about is that people who have mental illnesses are just crazy. And that's not true. Mental illnesses are a medical condition. So the medical condition, just like you have your high blood pressure, just like you would have malaria or typhoid. And yes, we can always get help, medical help, as well. Sorry, I'm just going to try to adjust this so that it's visible enough. Okay. Yes, so I hope that you can see my screen. So another myth that I often hear is that therapy or self-help is a waste of time. I hear people say that. They'll say, "Oh, it's a waste of time. Why should I even see the therapist? Why should I see a therapist? It's a waste of time." I would also hear people, so that also is a myth. It's not a waste of time. Therapy, self-help has shown to help people cope with mental health issues and even manage them effectively. Some people believe that anxiety and depression are not real illnesses. Like I mentioned earlier, they are illnesses, and they are medical conditions, just like you have your high blood pressure and the others, I've also heard, people say that it's a spiritual attack or it's demonic possession. The truth is, over 95% of the time, mental health related issues are not result of spiritual attacks or demonic possession. And I can say that because in my practice, I would say that over 95% of the time, most of the cases can be resolved by therapy or medication. And I think that would answer that. Some people also believe that children, cannot have a mental health, issue or mental illness. That is a myth. Children can also be affected by mental health related issues. And so I would like to go straight into the presentation and say that we are in this together. It's important that we understand that we are in this together. So there's no one who is excluded from having a mental health issue. Now, if you begin to look at our experience, coming from 2020 to 2021, its effect on the economy, the COVID-19, the NSAS protest, you realize that every one of us has had a share of a mental health challenge or the other, from sleep disturbance, sleep problems to extreme stress at work. We've had issues with anxiety and so on. So we're in this together. In fact, statistics will tell you that 1 in 4 would experience a mental health problem in their lifetime. And so this is significant because 1 in 4 simply says that is 25% of the population. We also find out that over 75% of us would know one person, at least one person who has experienced a mental health breakdown or has a mental health problem. We also know that stress is a significant factor in determining both mental health and physical health concerns, especially chronic illnesses and mental health issues as well. I always say that as Africans, our society was initially built on a communal system where we get to relate with each other and draw support with each other. Now, the increased isolation and poor support that we're getting as a result of technology, which has immensely positive aspect as well, but that's led to increased isolation. We're trying to be more like the Western people. We're trying to be individualized, and this has led to increased effect on our mental health. For most of us, it has its effect on resiliency, and it's a negative effect. Now, having stated this, the question for us would then be, what is mental health? What is mental well-being? Is there a difference? I would say here that I want us to look at mental health as a broader perspective of describing this, mental well-being or mental health. And so I would say that mental health is that state of well-being where you are able to realize your own potential. You are able to cope with normal stresses of life. You're able to work productively, and you're able to work fruitfully, and most importantly, contribute to your community. When you look at this, definition, it helps us understand that mental health is that ability to be the best that you can be, right? Mental health is the ability to be the best that you can be, and it's usually broken down into three dimensions. One, it's your thoughts, your emotions, your emotions, and your behaviors. So your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. I will try to adjust my slides so that we can all see it. Okay, so I believe that you can see this. The slides are better adjusted. So yes, it's three major dimensions: your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. Now, when we look at it from that perspective, it helps us understand that we all have mental health. We all have mental health because we all think, we all have emotions, and we all behave. We have behaviors. We all react to situations, and that's what mental health really is all about. It's your ability to do these three things effectively. But then the question is, what is mental well-being? I always say that mental well-being is one of the dimensions of mental health, right? So your mental health can either be positive or negative. Now, when we then look at it from this perspective, you would say that mental well-being is the positive dimension of mental health, while mental illness is the negative dimension of mental health. Now, to better put this, I would say that there are many definitions to what mental well-being is. There are many dimensions to what mental well-being is, many definitions. But one definition that I like to look at is that mental well-being is that aspect of your mental health that has to do with, your life satisfaction, your ability to be satisfied with life, with where you are, with the situations around you. So it's that life satisfaction. It's also your ability to be optimistic. It has your ability to express a sound self-esteem, to master and control your emotions or your feelings, to have a life purpose, a purpose in life, and most importantly, it has to also do with your ability to have a sense of belonging and a sense of support, being able to offer or accept support. So when you look at it from that perspective, like I said, it is the positive aspect of mental health, and it's that aspect of mental health that deals with your satisfaction with life, your satisfaction with where you are. So your satisfaction with what you're doing, where you are, your goals, your achievements, your growth journey, most importantly. Now, what is the difference between this and a mental illness? Now, a mental illness, on the other hand, is a diagnosable condition that significantly affects the individual's thoughts, emotions, and social abilities. You remember that I said earlier that mental health has to do with three basic things, three most important things: your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors, the way you react. And so when we look at that, we'll say that mental illness is that aspect of your mental health when these three areas are not functioning effectively, are not being productive. And most times we'll say that it needs to be diagnosed. Why? Because a lot of us go through a mental health struggle from time to time. We have our off days, but it might not be enough to say that this individual has a mental illness. And so we want to look at, so the question is, what are those criteria that would say that we would need to identify before we say that a person has a mental illness? I think that one area we want to look at is the duration. How long have you been experiencing this distress, right? How long has this condition affected your thoughts, your emotions, or your social abilities? You also want to look at the areas of your life that it has affected. So we look at functionality. Are you able to function effectively in your work, in your school, in your family, in your relationships? And if you're not able to function effectively, then of course this has gone on for a period of time, causing you significant distress, then we can be talking about a mental illness. So like I said earlier, that mental health is more like the broad perspective that looks at your ability to be the best that you can be. And then when we break this down into two smaller dimensions, you're looking at the mental well-being and then the mental illness. Now, the mental well-being is that positive state where you are satisfied with yourself, you're satisfied with your life, you're able to manage and control your emotions. And then mental health, on the other hand, is that condition that affects or interferes with your functioning, affects your productivity. And we can have different types of mental illnesses, from depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia. The list goes on and on. Now, I always like to look at mental health from a continuum, right? And so when you look at this screen, you will see here that we can either have the optimal mental health and well-being, or we have poor mental health or well-being. And so what would institute a person who has a good mental health and well-being? One, this individual can either be somebody who has been diagnosed with a mental health problem, but is able to cope with life and also has a positive mental well-being. That means they are satisfied with themselves. So looking at this, you understand that having a good mental health doesn't mean that you don't have a mental illness or you don't have a diagnosable mental illness. So you can have a diagnosable mental illness, but you are able to cope with it. You are able to manage the distress that comes from it, and then you're satisfied with life. That is a very important aspect of it. So when you look at that, we also look at another aspect of our good mental health or good mental well-being, which is for individuals who do not even have that, they don't have a diagnosable mental health problem, and they also have a positive mental well-being. Now, but on the other hand, you have, the poor mental health and well-being, and these are for people who have been diagnosed with a mental health problem and are not able to cope with it, and also, of course, are also experiencing poor mental well-being. That means they're not satisfied with themselves, they're not able to manage their emotions. On the other hand, you also have people who do not have a diagnosable mental health problem, but still are not experiencing good or positive mental well-being. Why? Because they're not satisfied with their life. They are experiencing probably low self-esteem. They probably have struggles with life purpose. They're not able to manage their emotions. Now, where we all want to be is the point of a good mental health and mental well-being. And this has nothing to do with whether you've been diagnosed with a mental illness or not. I think the most important aspect here is your ability to manage the symptoms, your ability to manage or to cope with the problems, and of course to maintain a positive mental well-being. Quickly, what are the common mental health conditions that we oftentimes struggle with? I think that some very common ones would include substance abuse or substance use, and we've seen a lot of people who have abused or have become dependent on one substance or the other, from marijuana to crack to cocaine to alcohol to even prescription medications like sleeping pills. And sometimes this could just be a form of a coping mechanism for these individuals. Suicidal thoughts or suicide also is a very common mental health issue, and studies have shown that it affects more men than women as well, just also as substance use. Even though, yes, I think the current statistics actually says that there seems to be an equal percentage of females and males who are struggling with a substance use disorder. Depression also is another common mental health issue, and this mental health condition, this is something that we all talk about. Oh, I'm depressed, but there's a difference between depression and just being sad. I always say to people that sadness is a normal emotion, and it's a survival emotion that helps you identify a problem and equips you to solve that problem. So it's not a bad emotion. However, when we begin to experience excessive sadness over a period of time, usually a period of 6 months for depression, or 2 weeks for major depression. And what's the difference between major depression and clinical depression is the presence of suicidal thoughts or self-harm. So there's that suicidal thought. So if this is going on for a period of 2 weeks, then this individual would be diagnosed of major depression, especially if this excessive sadness and suicidal thoughts are accompanied by 4 or more of the following, which is feeling of worthlessness, hopelessness, loss of interest in the things they used to love doing before, reduced energy, feeling tired a lot of times, losing concentration, forgetting things a lot, anger, irritability. But majorly, what we look out for is how these symptoms are affecting your functioning. And you need to always remember this, that with all mental illnesses or mental health problems, there has to be that aspect of, is this affecting your functioning? Is this beginning to affect your work? Is this beginning to affect your relationship? Now, if this is true, then you, of course, would then be, you might actually, the word there would be might, because you need to get a screening from a professional. You might then be qualified for a mental, illness diagnosis, but you need to speak to a professional to get that. Anxiety also is very common, and like I say to people, that a bit of anxiety is normal, because anxiety warns you of a risk. Anxiety tells you that what you're about to do is risky, or there's a potential risk, there's a potential threat, and you need to do something about it. You need to have a plan. You need to minimize the risk. But when this worry or when this anxiety becomes excessive and begins to affect your functioning, even though there is no physical threat, even though you cannot see any physical threat, but you just find out that your mind keeps on moving from one thought to the other about potential threats, then you might be experiencing anxiety. Of course, physiological symptoms like heart palpitation, difficulty sleeping, which also you can find in depression, irregular sleep patterns, you're either sleeping more, sleeping less, irregular appetite, eating more, eating less. Now, these are significant symptoms that you need to take note of. Family conflicts, also very important. Relationship conflicts as well as stress. And I think that for me, and mania, schizophrenia, but I think that stress is something that I really want to talk more about, because studies have shown how stress can be a significant trigger for other mental health issues, right? Stress can be a significant trigger for other mental health issues, and not just mental health issues, including it can be a significant trigger for physical health concerns as well. So what is stress? I always say to people that stress is a natural response. Now, I want you to take that in. That stress is a natural response. And somebody's wondering, how can stress be natural? But you want to look at stress from a perspective of, it's your body trying to help you cope with a perceived threat to your well-being. And so whenever you're in that situation whereby the situation, you feel like, I cannot cope, this is a threat to my well-being, your body sets in to try to help you. And one of the things that it does is that it shuts down the regions that you don't need at that time. This is why some people would notice that when they are stressed, sleep and appetite seems to be affected. Why? Because if you're really under threat, the last thing you should be thinking about is food. The last thing you should be thinking about is sleep. And so your body shuts down the regions that are not needed, and then of course, I would spare you the biological jargon, but what it does is that it secretes chemicals in your bloodstream to increase your body metabolism, such that you are able to think faster, your heart is pumping blood faster, you're breathing faster. If you needed to run at that time, you're able to run faster. It's almost like saying it enhances your performance. But it's not intended to endure for a long time, as well as the intensity can also determine how positively or negatively stress would affect you. So there is a type of stress called the eustress, and that is the positive kind of stress. And there is a negative type of stress called the distress, which could be chronic or acute, depending on duration or intensity. And this is because some of the chemicals that are secreted in your bloodstream, which were intended to improve your performance, begins to hurt you and damage your cells. For example, your cortisol and your adrenaline. Now, again, when this happens, stress can then induce mental health conditions or can trigger physical health conditions. So from family conflicts, because you're stressed, you find difficult managing your emotions, you get home and you're transferring aggression. Some of us can relate with our fathers coming back home and you hear the horn and everybody runs under the bed, That could just be as a result of stress, anxiety, depression, because there's a lot of chemical, imbalance in the brain, and of course, this can also affect your sleep, suicidal thoughts because you feel overwhelmed, substance use because you need to cope. And you feel like substance will help you cope, so you are now needing more substance and you're now depending more on substance, aggressive behaviors, and even psychosis. But from the physical health concern, you're looking at acute illnesses like reduced immunity. So you now find out that you're easily falling ill. So this week it's malaria, next week it's typhoid, and sometimes even psychosomatic illnesses where you have physical complaints, but when you go to the hospital, the doctor tells you that they can't see anything. That could just be as a result of stress. Chronic illnesses like high blood pressure, diabetes, and cancer could also be the result of stress. So what are the things you need to look out for? I always say to people, you need to look out for your mood. Are you experiencing mood changes? Are you finding it difficult to concentrate, or you're beginning to forget things more? Are you becoming more pessimistic, more negative? Are you having the need to withdraw more or to isolate yourself? Are you losing interest in things you used to love doing before? Are you beginning to overeat, or eat less, or smoke more, use more substance, or even depend more on sex, or not even having sex drive at all? And in some cases, sleep problems also. You find it difficult staying asleep or even falling asleep, or you're even sleeping too much. Those could become warning signs that you might be experiencing a mental health condition or a mental health problem, or your mental well-being is not adequate at that time. At that particular time. You also want to look at problems at work like absenteeism. You want an excuse not to go to work, or you're at work and you feel like you're not giving your 100%. That's presenteeism. You begin to make more mistakes at work, decrease productivity. You'll begin to have more problems with your coworkers, or you're even becoming more anxious or worried about little things or things that normally would not have gotten you anxious, or you feel low motivation. In some cases, procrastination as well could be a warning sign. So you begin to procrastinate more, and then of course you feel like life is worthless. You lose interest in life generally. Now those could become warning signs. Now for some people, when they notice some of these warning signs, they try to cope in one way or the other. But not all coping skills are good, right? Some of them are poor. And so I want us to just notice that coping skills like relying on social media. So you find that some people then begin to spend more time on social media, or spend more time on negative media, negative news. That is a poor coping skill. Some people begin to use more substance. So they begin to smoke more, drink more, hang out more at the pub or at the beer parlor. That also is a poor coping skill. Some people transfer aggression to their colleagues, to their family, to their kids. That is a poor coping skill. Some people make hasty, irrational decisions. That is a poor coping skill. They become obsessed with discussing negative events. So every time you see them, they're always telling you how miserable life is or how bad the country is. That could also be a coping mechanism, but it's a negative one. Procrastination, like I mentioned earlier, is a poor coping mechanism, as well as social withdrawal. Now, some people want to withdraw, and that is because they feel like they don't have the energy, they feel tired, they don't have the energy to cope with social stimulation. But it could also be a poor coping mechanism if not managed well. I always say to people that, this would then depend on your personality, because some people, introverts, will feel energized when they spend time alone, right? But extroverts will feel energized when they interact with people. But the key here is to identify, is this becoming excessive? That's the key. You need to ask yourself, is this becoming excessive? And that means that you need to compare the before and the now. What do I used to do before? What am I doing now? Is what I'm doing now becoming excessive, especially when it has to do with a poor coping mechanism? And so what are the positive coping mechanisms? I'm trying to round up right now. I think that one positive coping mechanism for us is time management. Somebody said, how can time management be related to mental well-being? You see, I would say that especially if you live in Lagos, the bulk of our stress comes from a lot of things. We have a lot of things to do. And so you're waking up as early as 4, you're driving through the traffic, you're getting home as late as, 12, 1 a.m., and it seems like you don't have enough time. And so being able to shed your day, whereby you're able to reduce the amount of work you have to do, is a very good place to start. And how do you manage time? I always say, start with a goal. What do I want to achieve today? What do I want to achieve this week? What do I want to achieve this month? You need to start with that plan. You need to have a goal. Make sure that your goal is reasonable, right? Make sure that it's achievable as well. So don't set unrealistic goals. And then you need to be able to identify the tasks or the activities that will help you achieve your goal. Now, any activity that helps you achieve your goal is an important activity. And what that simply means is that it's an important activity that you need to attend to. And so one way to manage your time is to divide your tasks into 4. 1, the activities that are important and that are urgent. What do you do with them? You do them immediately. Those should be the first things you do every day. Then you have the activities that are important but not urgent. What do? You plan for them, right? You plan for them. And then you have the activities that are not important but are urgent. What do? You ask people to do them for you. Don't do them yourself. Share them. Ask for help. And then finally, activities that are not important and that are not urgent. Now, again, remember that how do you classify these activities? The question is, do they contribute to achieving my overall goal? If the answer is no, then it's not important. So activities that are not important and are not urgent, what you do with them is that you say no. Learn to say no. Learn to say no to activities that are not important and not urgent. Learn to relax. Play. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So we watched the floating therapy. That's a good place to relax, right? Your breathing exercise, your mindfulness practice, your meditation, play with your kids, go to the park, relax. Be good to yourself, focus on your diet. The fact that you have money doesn't mean you need to eat everything, man. So you need to pay attention to your diet. And the fact that you don't have money doesn't mean you need to eat bad as well. You need to eat junk, so you need to focus on your diet, fruits, healthy and balanced diet, exercise more, learn more, invest in yourself, right? Invest in yourself, appreciate yourself more as well, celebrate your little wins, right? Yes, we're not able to buy Range Rover and a house in Banana Island last year, but there is still hope, right? And so celebrate the little wins that you have. Get yourself some me time. And what is a me time? This is my acronym for meditating on positive things. Always look out for the positive side of life. You need to do the gratitude practice regularly, where you are able to say to yourself, what am I grateful for? And why am I grateful for this? Do this before you sleep or even when you wake up every day. Engage with positive connections, people that make you happy or contribute positively to your life. And then finally, create time for fun or positive emotions. Create time for things that make you happy. Create time for things that, add value to your life. And so some of the things that I would suggest to people is, create time for exercise, like I mentioned earlier. Create time for ice cream. Create time for, if you like ice cream, so reward yourself, right? Go out to the park, go out to the movies. Create time for this. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And then sleep. People would say that sleeping 8 hours a day is a waste of time. But I always say that if you hear anyone say that, it's because they don't really understand the essence of sleep. Sleep is not a waste of time. Sleep can help your body function optimally, right? It's a body mechanism that has been designed to help you remain productive. And so one of the things you need to do is create time to sleep. Manage your sleep hygiene. Create a sleep routine when you go to bed and when you wake up. If you can't sleep at night, don't remain on your bed. Stand up, go somewhere else, do something boring, or journal. Journal your thoughts, journal your emotions. When you start to feel sleepy, you can go back to bed. Keep away from screen time. Use your bed for only sleep and intimacy, if you are legally allowed to do so. Your sleep and intimacy. Keep away from carbonated drink, caffeinated drink, spicy food before bedtime. Exercise is good, but keep away from exercise just before bedtime. Redecorate your room so that it is warm and cozy enough. If you can't sleep, before you go to bed, I always advise people, take a warm shower, get a glass of milk if you don't react to milk, right? I think that if you're able to do this, and then help people, this is also very good. You're able to improve your sleep hygiene and also improve your mental health, because your brain is able to secrete positive chemicals that will help optimize your well-being. Most importantly, ask for help. Right? It's okay to feel overwhelmed from time to time. It's okay to feel like things are not going on the way you planned them. It's okay to feel like you can't cope. But when you feel that way, don't struggle alone. Ask for help. You don't need to talk to a professional for every help, but there's some kind of situations that you need to reach out to a professional. But you need to have that positive connection that you can always ask for help. People who you can trust, people who will not judge you, and who will remain confidential. I think with this, you are able to protect and build a positive mental well-being, and as well manage your mental health effectively. I think with this, I would like to leave us with this simple quote that says here, always remember that you are braver than you believe. Very important, right? You are braver than you believe, that you are stronger than you seem. You are smarter than you think, and you are loved more than you know it. Now, this is going to help you change your thought processes, create more positive thought processes, because when you begin to see yourself more positively, remember, that means that you are also experiencing a mental well-being. I think with this, I would like to say thank you for your time. And again, I'm happy to answer questions relating to this. Hello, questions? If you have a question, please shoot. Oh, great. So there is a question that comes up here, and it says that how can organizations help their teams? So I always would say that we first need to come from a place of empathy. You see, many organizations are built on the background or the foundation that as long as you're being paid, you should do your work. But we need to understand that mental health and productivity, are very interrelated. You cannot have productivity without mental health. And as an organization, we need to be more empathic, as well as take up that responsibility to caring for the mental health of our employees, management and staff in general. And I think that one way to help is create interventions, provide people within your organization access to interventions. One of the barriers to mental health care is stigma and cost. Some of the barriers, more than one. So cost is one of them. And so people cannot afford professional mental health care. So as an organization, if we can create such system where people can have access to care, affordable care, then it's a good place to start. And I think that I would then suggest what we call the employee assistance program. It's a wellness initiative that is put together, that is paid for by employers to help employees attain work-life balance, optimal well-being, including mental health as well. So, of course, if organizations can put this in place, it's very important. You also need to create a culture that allows people to speak up, to share their struggles, as well as to seek help. I think that's a very good place to start. Create a positive culture. You need to be able to create a culture that allows communication, empathic communication, a culture that supports your employees as well, a culture where people feel safe, safe in. And the other question says, what can parents do for their teens? I have a teenager who is struggling with depression. So if you've identified that your teenager is suffering with depression, seek professional help. Talk to a professional. Reach out to a therapist. That's the first place to start. Now, the second place to start is understanding your teenager or understanding your children. You see, there are different milestones to growth, and every child struggles with these milestones differently. For teenagers, the milestone here is the milestone of what we call identity formation. It's when they're trying to find out, who am I? That's the question. The question is, who am I? And this is why you see a lot of teenagers imitate or copy celebrities, what they see on TV, because they're still trying to experiment. And so the best thing that a parent can do for their child is to, and I always say that it doesn't start at teenage years. It starts when they are babies. When you start to build trust, and then present yourself as someone that they can talk to. Get to understand them. That is a very good place to start. Understand that all your children are different, and they have to be treated differently as well. So understand them. Understand what works for each of your child. It's a lot of work. Parenting is a lot of work, but you need to do the work. You need to do the work, right? So that you are able to attend to your kids uniquely according to what they need. But if you already notice that they're struggling, seek professional help. Don't gamble with it. Seek professional help. Is with so someone say, oh, she's withdrawn and insecure. So with that, I would say that while you seek professional help, one of the things that you can do is that you want to be able to encourage your child more. Expose your child to activities first, activities where they feel what's the word? They feel competent enough in. So, you want to expose them to little activities like that, and then you want to give them positive feedback. Right? Don't criticize them, but give them a positive feedback every time so that they feel confident, they feel good enough. A child who is withdrawn or who is feeling insecure could just be around that self-esteem issue. They're struggling with their self-worth or their self-esteem. And so it's a job of the parent to make them feel like they are worth it. It's a job of the parent to help them feel like they are good enough. And the way you do this is expose them to little tasks. And then with every success they get with these little activities or little tasks, they tend to build self-efficacy and self-confidence. Help them feel like you trust in them. Help them feel like you believe in them, that you know how much value they have. And then, of course, value them. But listen to them, also very important. Kids are not just meant to be seen. They're also meant to be listened to. Every child who is struggling has spoken in one way or the other. Somebody failed to listen. So you need to listen more. Ask them, how can we help? What are you going through? If you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. Don't criticize your kids. The fact that a child is not doing academically as much as the other person doesn't mean that they are worse off or they are not. The other one is better. Every child has a strength. Find that strength and help them work in their strengths. The other question here is that how do you help someone who is not aware that they are showing signs of a poor mental health? Of course. So it depends on the level of severity. If this individual has lost touch with reality, I always say you probably need to find professionals to help you. Probably, take that person to a clinic or a hospital, a facility where they can be cared for. But if this individual has not lost total touch of reality, I think that one thing you need to do is position yourself, right? I always say this, and of course, we're still trying to do research to confirm this, but this is what I believe. I believe that our brain always, at some point, would have noticed that there was something going wrong. But we either did not take note of it or we did not have the right resources to cope until we then lose touch of reality. So if an individual is at that point where they feel something is wrong, but I don't know what it is, what you can do is that you can then offer your support. Walk up to the person, say to the person, you know what, I've noticed that you've done this in a while, I've noticed this, and I'm concerned. If you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. Right? Now, this is not you imposing on them. Rather, you're the ones, you're saying to them, you know what, I'm here for you. You can trust me. You can talk to me. And so this individual is likely to come back to you and tell, I've been struggling here. What can I do? The other thing that I would suggest is get information. And that's why we're having something like this, to educate us about mental health issues so that you have that knowledge. And so the last thing I would say is point them to the right direction. So I am a 7-year-old. My 7-year-old son shows excessive aggression. It's gotten worse since the pandemic and lockdown. 7-year-old showing aggression. It could be anything. It could be a conduct issue. It could be depression. It could be frustration, basically. So I think what you want to do in that case is, listen to the child first. Again, like I said, listen to them. Notice the unspoken words, right? The frustration. Ask questions about school. Ask questions about relationship with people. How is your teacher? How are your colleagues? How are you doing at school? So notice those areas where this child feels threatened or feels, inadequate, right? But I would also recommend that you speak to a professional so that adequate screening and assessment is done. And then, of course, a diagnosis is given if there is any. And then, of course, you are trained better to help the kids. And I think the other thing I would suggest is parents management training. I always say this, that parenting is something that we do by trial and error. Nobody really goes to school to learn how to be a parent. So you don't need to blame yourself. But what you need to do is when you become aware of this, then you need to go out to learn how to, what to do, the warning signs, what to look out for, how to support your kids. Learn. Don't do it by trial and error. I feel such anxiety. So the answer is, what do I do? I'll first start by saying that anxiety is your body trying to tell you that there's a threat or there's a potential risk, right? So it tells you, be careful, be cautious, do something about it. But sometimes anxiety is not based in reality. That means even though when things are down or calmer, your body still feels alert. And that is because the moment the brain feels threatened, it initiates a response. Unfortunately, this response sometimes are distressing. So when we begin to notice this response, it could also be a sign or a reinforcement that indeed something is wrong, right? And so your brain can remain in that heightened state for a period of time. So what you need to do is to first remind yourself that, you know what, everything is fine. And one way to do that is to look at evidence. Right, is to look at evidence. Now, sometimes this is best done with a professional, but I think that in your own case, some of the things that I would suggest to you is take time off work. Take time off work, all the activities, right? You can create a day. And that day, what you want to do is you want to do, say, journaling, for example, mindfulness practice, where you're just where you're just mindful of your environment, mindful of the problem. And then you're doing your journaling where you are saying to yourself, what is the threat? What is the risk that I'm exposed to? What are the evidence that supports or do not support this risk? Now, when you find out that there's no potential risk, then automatically your brain starts to feel safer and on its own could reverse that fight or flight response. But again, if you find it difficult doing this or find it difficult getting a result, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody about it. But I want you to understand that anxiety was intended to be a survival emotion. But when it becomes excessive and begins to affect your functioning, then you need to ask for help. Okay. So yes, I think still on anxiety, and I think I'll just touch on some other emotions, including sadness, anger. I need us to understand that all these are emotions that were designed to help us survive. So they are not bad emotions. They are just like happiness. All emotions tell you something. You just need to understand what they're telling you, right? And then listen, and then work out a coping skill or a response strategy. Now, there's a question here that says, please explain hedonia and how to deal with it. My friend is struggling from it. So hedonia is a condition where an individual finds it difficult to feel pleasure or to experience pleasurable activities. So sometimes we'll say that you have lost interest in things that naturally are pleasurable to the individual. And so I think that one way to cope with this first is, to understand what the person is going through. Is it a symptom of something else? Because this could be a symptom of depression. So if it's a symptom of depression, you probably want to point your friend to the right help, right? You want to point your friend to the right help. Sometimes it could be a sign of stress. So in cases like that, you want to create an avenue where your friend can just get some sort of relief, right? So they're able to, relax, and then, the more they're able to do this, their brain is able to secrete more pleasurable chemicals like serotonin, and they feel good and feel better, and of course can return back to what they used to be before. But if this is not the case, then I will always say, point your friend to where they can get professional help, because we need to understand what the problem is. Another person says, talking about grief, how do I handle grief? My husband died of COVID. Apologies, so sorry about this. But I would say that, just like I talked about emotions, that grief usually is your body, and a lot of these things that we struggle with, are mechanisms that have been put in place to help us deal and survive in this world that we live in. The grieving process is one of it. And there are 5 stages to this, right? Of course, we can react differently, but the 5 stages are usually the denial stage, where we don't want to believe that it happened. We sometimes move beyond this to anger or depression, and then in some cases, we then move to bargaining, where we start to ask ourselves, I wish I could do something. Is there something I could do? What if I repent? What if I do this? Can I get my partner back? Now, where you want to get to is the last stage, which is the stage of acceptance. Unfortunately, some people can move from acceptance back to denial and back, back and forth. But where we want to get to is acceptance. And I think that one way to help people reach acceptance is to help them understand that death is not the end of a relationship. Death is a process, no doubt. And I would not tell you that I understand the whole death experience, right? I've never died before, so I don't understand the death experience. But I can tell you this. I can tell you that the biggest distress that comes from the bereavement experience is the fact that we feel that death puts an end to the relationship that we share with this individual. And that is not true. Death might put an end to the physical connection, but the relationship is built on memories. And so if we get to understand that the fact that a person dies does not end the memories, does not end the relationship, that is a way to help us cope better with grief. So yes, he's no longer here, and that has its own effect. Oh, I can no longer call him, I can no longer see him, but I still have those memories, and I can cherish those memories that we've shared before. I can think about those times, and I can intentionally, I need to underline that, intentionally focus on the positive moments that we spend together. I always would advise people to express how they feel. Most times with death and trauma, it comes with a lot of unanswered questions. And so one of the things that you want to do is find a way to express those questions. Writing is one way to do that. Exercise, arts in general is a good place to start. So, defensive exercise could also help, like boxing, wrestling, things like that. Yoga, meditation, but I would always advise you to write. And so what would I tell you to do? I want you to write a letter. Write a letter, to the memory of your husband. And that letter should carry all the things the questions you wanted to ask, if you had any questions to ask, the concerns that you had, the worries that you have, just express it. And most importantly, express the beautiful memories that you had with him while he was here. And this is something that you can do. Then you can also do a response letter where you write back to yourself in the tone of your husband. But remember, death is the end of a physical connection, but not the end to the relationship, which is actually what matters the most. Thank you for your time. It's been lovely and awesome talking about mental health and mental well-being. I hope that you're able to listen to some of the advice that I gave and, of course, optimize your mental well-being. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. That was fantastic. You touched on so many points, so many things that people are struggling with. The questions too. Thank you all for sending in your questions. And some of the things that you shared are some of the things that are going to be happening during the fair. So we're having we're having meditation, deep breathing sessions. We're having art sessions. So we're having a session with origami. And so again, it's to show the tools that people can use, can engage with to help to boost their mental well-being. Thank you so much. If we have any more questions, we'll share with you, and then we'll post it on our handle so that people can connect with and know. We'll also be sharing Dr. Chris's details. So if you need any support going forward, or anybody that needs support going forward, we can connect you. Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. I really learned from that. Thank you.
Thanks.
So moving on now, from everything that Dr. Chris said, the next thing that we're going to be going on to is a breath work session led by moi. So we're going to be doing some deep breathing. Deep breathing is really good. It's really helpful, particularly if you struggle with meditation. I struggle with meditation, as in once I start, I fall asleep. So if you're like me, as opposed to trying to go deep into that meditative state, if you focus on deep breathing, what it does is that it helps to trigger your parasympathetic nervous system, and that triggers your vagus nerve in your brain, goes all the way down into your abdomen, and just helps to ease off the tension and ease up your nerves, basically. So you end up bypassing your mind and you go straight to the emotions, straight to the tension points and release that out. So what we're going to do, I invite you to just sit up tall. Actually, let us stand because some of us have been sitting for a while and it can be a little, we also need to move our energy as well. So I want you to just stand, come to your feet and open out your legs. So you want your feet to be at least shoulder width apart. And I want you to just sway gently. Keep your knees soft. And then, so meaning bend your knees just a little bit and just sway gently from side to side. That just helps to open up the, your hips, your pelvis area and ease out whatever tension that you've been feeling there. If you've been sitting for long hours, we always want to break that and start and get some movement in there. So I want you to just sway from side to side, very gently. Okay, come to a stop. Bring your feet back under your hips. And I want you to bring your shoulders up towards your ears and bring them down gently. One more, bring your shoulders up towards your ears and bring them down gently. I want you to look over your shoulder to the right. And then bring your nose down towards your shoulder. Very good. You feel a stretch down the back of your neck. Then come back up, center, and then come back, look forward. Now to the other side as well, look over your shoulder. This is to open up the neck. And these are stretches that you should do when you've been spending time on your computer and on your phone. So bring your nose down towards your shoulder. Then come back up and come back center. Okay, so now I want you to take your seat and we'll just do 5 minutes of breath because we're really over time and we want to respect your time and keep to time. So I want you to sit up tall on whatever chair that you're sitting. Make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. You want your shoulders to be sitting directly over your rib cage directly over your pelvis or your hips. And I want you to now place your hands. You can place one hand on your stomach by your belly button. And then the other hand, you can just place it on your thigh and just relax. Sit up tall. And I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to just focus on your breath. Okay, I'm going to lead you. And you're going to breathe in through your mouth to a count of 5. And then at the end of that breath, you're going to hold it for a count of 2, and then you release that breath gently through your mouth, like that. Okay, let's do that again. So let's practice. So I want you to breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold it, 1, 2. Now breathe out through your mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good stuff. Hold it there. Now breathe in again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. And 1, 2. And breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so hear my voice in your head. I'm not going to count. I want you to do the count on the inside as you just focus on that breath. So inhale. Feel your chest rise. Hold it. And exhale. Through your mouth. One more. Breathe in deep, nice and deep into your chest. Feel your belly come out as well. Hold it and breathe out gently. Okay, let's do this one more time. Just focus, feel the floor beneath your feet. And I want you to also just pay attention to how your body feels. Do you feel tension anywhere? Anywhere that you're feeling tension, focus on that place and breathe into that spot. So let's try this again. Breathe in deep into your belly, into your chest, back of your rib cage, and hold and breathe out. If you need a visual, think of blowing air into a balloon. Those are your lungs. So think of your lungs like a balloon. Picture that. And then breathe in. Let's do that again. Breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. Okay, awesome. So like Dr. Chris said, I hope you feel better, just, nicely refreshed from that. Like Dr. Chris said, deep breathing is a good tool to ease out any anxiety that you're feeling, any nervousness that you're feeling. I had to do some deep breathing before I started today because I was a bit nervous. So, and then over the week, we're going to have breath sessions, breath breaks during the day, during the session. So we have great facilitators and teachers who are going to be leading us through those sessions. Right now, we're behind time, and we're going to go. We were supposed to go into a cooking demo with Veggie Victory, but I'm not sure that we're quite ready for that yet. And so we're going to go into a short film that that we have for you. Like I said, Africa Film Academy, the curators of the AMAA Awards, which is it's the movie awards for across Africa. It's the major reward system for movie filmmakers across Africa. So it's really a big one. And we're very excited that they partnered with us by challenging the movie industry or the African film industry to depict mental health in a more accurate manner. Like Dr. Chris had mentioned, so many of our films depict mental health like it's a spiritual thing. People, and then you take your clothes off, you're running on the road, and it's not that. As from the presentation by Dr. Chris, so many of us are on the spectrum. And so we challenge the film industry to come up with to show us a more accurate perception of that. And they've done that. So the first film that we are going to be sharing is all the way from South Africa. We were not able to get the filmmaker to join us for this session because it would be great to get their perspective, but we'll look at doing that for all the other coming sessions, that the filmmakers can share with us share with us some more about the film. The films are all about 5 minutes or less, so not a lot. This particular one is called A Letter to Depression, and it was done by Tumelo Mutlana. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name. Tumelo Mutlana. And it was curated for us by Africa Film Academy. It's also available on Rootflix. Rootflix is like Netflix, but it focuses on African films. So you can Google Rootflix to watch the movies after. And it was also curated by In Short Film Festival. And the films that we are screening, never been seen before, are going to also be entered into the film festival by InShort. So we're really excited for that. And InShort has marketers that will take those films across the world into cinemas and stuff for these filmmakers. So we're really excited for that to happen. So we're just going to go over into a letter to depression. Oh yes, we have. Thank you to our supporters. That was a montage of all of our supporters. Thank you to our supporters. We're going to go, and hope you also notice the helpline. The helpline will also roll again, particularly after this film. And we're going to be showing A Letter to Depression now. Not sure why. Okay, enjoying my smile as we wait for technical to come back on air. I'm not sure what's going on back end, but they're probably trying to show the film. Oh, please share with us any feedback that you have, on the session so far. And I hope that you also participated in the breathing session with me. I'm seeing some shout outs here. I'm seeing my colleague from Arts and Medicine, Oyin. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Okay, so technical is saying that it will take them a moment. So I guess that while we're waiting for technical to come back on, let's just practice some deep breathing with some movement this time. So I was cut short before, but we might as well go into it. Okay, so while you're sitting tall, we're just going to open out the upper body now. So I want you, like we did earlier, where we lifted the shoulders up and down, I want us to now just roll those shoulders back and forth. So you're lifting and rolling. So now, one of the things that Dr. Chris had said was that we pile on tension in our bodies, and that's why he was recommending exercise, or one of the reasons why he was recommending exercise. So when we just little movements like this help to release the tension stored up in our shoulders. If you've gone for a massage before, you'll notice how they always work the shoulder, the upper body, because we tend to pack on tension. Anything that stresses us, we just go like this. So just release your shoulders down gently and just roll it back and forth like so. And now I want us to combine that deep breathing with it. So take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just feel the tension release your body. Leave your body. Keep your feet flat on the floor. One more. Take a deep breath in. And then release. Now let's go in the opposite direction. Rolling forward. Very gently, simple movement. And this is something you can do at your desk, at work. You can do in the car. And then you come to a stop. Okay, so now I want you to bring your hands, inhale them nice and deep into your lungs and just bring your arms all the way up in. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine that you are pressing down on pumps as you bring your arms down gently. One more, visualize your rib cage, breathe in deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold it at the top. And breathe out. Now, while you're sitting, let's just open out our waist. I want you to sit up tall, and then we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just twist as far back. So from your waist, twist as far back as you can. So you want to look over your right shoulder as far back as you can, and just hold that there, and then breathe in there. And as you breathe out, come back to center. Breathe in and start to twist to the left. I like to breathe out through the mouth because it always causes you to breathe in immediately. Hold it there, breathe in, and then come back to center. Bring your arms out. Okay, the helplines the film is coming back up. So again, I was cut, but hey, it's all good. The film is coming back up. Go for it if it's ready.
Dear Depression, I have gone back and forth about writing this letter to you, mostly because I didn't know if you would take the time to read it or actually put me first in the several years since you came into my life. I figured you had no idea on the impact you had on me and those around me, and that could only be the reason why you stayed so long. Overstayed your welcome. The first time I heard someone tell me that you are fully present in my life was in a doctor's office when he informed me that if I was trying to end my life by slitting my wrists, I was definitely cutting in the wrong direction. And now I would have to get stitches. I sat there and wondered how a love affair between razors, broken glass, and my skin had nearly cost me my life had I just done it correctly. It was after the doctor's appointment that I had to look you up and try figure out what and who you are. Did you know you are described as a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest, also called major depressive disorder or clinical depression? The most painful part about having you in my life is I have never been able to open up about you. You were like my own dirty little secret. The only time it ever dawned upon my family that you were slowly killing me is when I actually tried to kill myself. But since then, you were never spoken of, swept under the rug like another family secret. You have gone through my family like a promiscuous lover, and maybe that is why they keep walking on eggshells around you. A plague that will get to you if you dare mention its name, if you dare acknowledge its existence. I wish I could say beautiful things about you, but I don't want to romanticize a toxic relationship. An abusive, forced, polygamous relationship with you and anxiety could never be romantic. You made me so comfortable with dark spaces and sleeping on tear soaked pillows that I didn't even realize I was wasting away. Wasted away a good portion of my years and in my skin because I could never understand. Why you loved me, why you made me so comfortable with dark spaces and sleeping on tear soaked pillows that I didn't even realize I was wasting away. Wasted away a good portion of my years and my skin because I could never understand why you loved me, why you seduced me into isolation. I understand why you loved me, why you seduced me into isolation, why just like an abusive lover, you wanted me all to yourself. So with this pen, I write to you my final goodbyes. My goodbyes as I plead and beg with you to stay wherever you are, as I do not want to lay in the ground with the army of soldiers that didn't survive the war against you. The army of soldiers that we get to say made us realize the extent of your toxicity. And I don't mean to make you feel bad like you have made me feel all these years, but I would like to think I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you are not welcome anymore. You have taught me in the most harshest way that I can't settle in the pain you brought me, because unlike the sweet nothings that you used to tell me, convincing me that you were the best for me, I have found out you lied. I deserve more. I deserve better. With love, Double Lidunwan.
Wow, wow, that was a deep one. And like Dr. Chris shared, depression is not something to be ashamed of. It's a disease like any other disease. Wow, thank you, Tumelo. I think I keep murdering your name, Tumelo Molana. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you to all the entries that we got. We received almost 50, and we had to filter down to 7. We will be screening the top our selected 7 over the week. We're going to share with you our helplines, some helplines by Lagos Mind and also by Serpent. If you know anybody that's suffering with depression, suffering from that's been suicidal, let's help. This is what this is about. Access. So can we have the helpline numbers up, please? Yeah. Okay, so okay, I'm just trying to get confirmation if Veggie Victory film recorded is ready, because what we did was to minimize some of this network glitches that we've experienced, we went and we pre-recorded some of the sessions. So even some of the cooking sessions, cooking demonstrations are pre-recorded. And so I'm just trying to get clarity as to if Veggie Victory's recording is ready for us to air. If not, we'll have to air it tomorrow. While I wait for confirmation from technical, I'll give you a quick rundown. Oh, they say we're ready. Okay, so let's go into the screen, the cooking demonstration by Veggie Victory. Okay, guys, you can take it away.
everyone, welcome to another beautiful day. My name is Bola from Veggie, the first plant-based food tech company in Nigeria. What does Veggie do? We are into plant-based meal, plant-based meat substitute, and anything plant-based, just come to Veggie. As part of Eko Wellness Fair, I'm going to show you how I make my delicious tofu gusi. And if you ask me what does tofu gusi mean, because I'm using tofu. Tofu is made from soya beans, in case if you don't know what tofu is, to replace egusi. And why? The reason why I'm using this, it's my food, and this is what I like doing. I suffer a lot from acne. Like I tend to have breakouts a lot. If I go out like this under the sun, you check my face the next day, there are so many breakouts there. So in order to, still enjoy egusi soup with my friends, my family and everything, so I have to come up with my own recipe. So I have onions that has been cut and thoroughly washed, and also my bell pepper, which has been deseeded. So I have ginger here, garlic, turmeric, and tomato. And I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering, especially my mom, if she's watching this, she'll say, why is she using tomato in making egusi? Because she was not raised like that. But we don't use MSG as our mothers use, monosodium glutamate. So in order to have that glutamate taste, that umami taste, I'm going to use tomato to bring that delicious and flavor taste to my cooking. So from there, I'm going to use, instead of the normal, our ugu, the greens, amaranth leaf, igbo leaf, I'm going to use moringa. Because moringa, aside from taking it as tea, as drug, we can use it to, to enjoy our to swallow our meal, our pound yam or eba. So I'm going to use moringa leaf today. And one thing about moringa is, we all know how crazy Nigeria is now with the economy and everything. Everybody is stressed. So in order to reduce our stress and also to cleanse our body, we need something like moringa like this. And moving on from moringa, for my egusi, that's another story. I'm here. I hope you guys are not going anywhere. I'm here to tell you a lot of story today. Because I break out a lot, I'm not fit for this country. I don't know why I find myself here. So whenever I eat egusi, I break a lot. I'm the same soup as my friends and family. So I have to come up with my own thing. Egusi is protein, right? And I need protein as well. So I have my tofu made from soya beans. Used to replace egusi in today's cooking. So from there, moving on from there. As we all know now, I said Veggie is a plant-based food company. So I'm vegan. I can't have beef, I can't have chicken. So this is what I'm going to delicious V-chunks. V-chunks this has been parboiled already. So this is how it comes out in. It's a dehydrated meat substitute. 100% plant-based. So you can own it. There is no worry about it. If you are not allergic to wheat or soya beans, then you can go ahead and have your V-chunks in your cooking. So this has been steamed already. So I'm going to one chunk of meat in today's cooking. So after this, let me introduce you my own correct palm oil. This one is correct one, not the smelly palm oil you are buying in the market. So I have my palm oil. I have my locust beans here, the popular Iru. If you don't know Iru, you are missing a lot. Iru is very good for the eyes. If you are like me, every time you're blinking, blink, blink. So I have some Iru here. Then to spice it, as a Nigerian girl, typical Yoruba girl, I like my food being spicy. Very, very spicy. So I'm going to use to give me that spicy food. Then I can't cook without ogiri now. I need ogiri. If I use Iru, I use ogiri to make my food really tasty and make people wonder what is so special about this dish. So I'm going to use ogiri today and salt to taste. Then water to balance everything up.
don't mind me, I get table man now. I really like talking at the chop, especially when food sweet like this. I know like a goosey soup, but which I see here don't scatter my brain. Walai. This is fantastic. Like, you just have to try this at home. I can't explain because you won't understand because you're not testing this. But just try it, you're gonna love it. It is so fantastic. Thank you, Veggie Victory, for showing me another way of replacing meat in my soup.
Thank you guys for performing with me, and thank you Eko Wellness Fair for giving me this opportunity. To get the recipe for this meal, visit all our social media handles at Veggie Victory NG, and also to get the V chunks, that's the meat substitute we use. You can get it on Flutterwave platform right now at a discounted rate. Thank you once again. Hi.
Thank you, Bola. Thank you, Bola. Thank you, Veggie Victory, for that. I was there during the recording of that. I can assure you that it was tasty. It was tasty. And the V chunks, the first time I tried them, I did not believe that it was not meat. So I'm a carnivore. I love my meats, but the V chunks, it really mimics meat very, very well. They've done a really good job with that. So I'll encourage everybody to try that out. So online shopping is still ongoing on our Flutterwave store. So please check that out. I forget what the link is, but it's flutterwave.com/Eko Wellness Fair. You can also get it from you can also connect with the store from our Facebook page, our website, www.ekowellness, ekowellness.net. You see a tab at the top that says store. So that will take you straight to the Flutterwave store or our Flutterwave mall. And if you scroll all the way down as well, you'll see some of the stores listed there. The right link is flutterwave.com/NG/Eko Wellness. They really helped us in making online shopping available for this fair. So we say thank you, Flutterwave. Thank you to all our supporters. Thank you, Dr. Chris. Of Lagos Mind. Thank you, Veggie Victory. Thank you, Flow Therapy. Thank you, Honourable Commissioner of Tourism and also of Health. We're really grateful that you supported us in this. We have a week-long of activities. So tomorrow we have a very interesting session. Like I said, Dr. Chris laid the foundation today. So we're building up for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about, we're having a storytelling session. And that storytelling session is by 2 COVID survivors who are going to be sharing with us their experience, both the physical, but particularly the mental toll that having that near-death experience was for them. Again, those are the headlines. And then after that, we also have a session by Dr. Margaret Ojewere, who's with the Get Africa consortium. So they're going to be talking to us about the effects of COVID and the lockdown and the pandemics on our mental well-being. And we have a breathwork session by Sarah Bolas, who's the founder of
the Society of Performing Arts. She's amazing. So let's look forward to that. And of course, we're going to round up with a short film curated by AMAA. So thank you all for joining me today. Thank you for giving the network glitches. Those things happen now. It's part of our lives now. But thank you to the technical team. Y'all did a good job. Thank you all. Signing out. This is Oyin Talabi. Bye. You'll notice, quick one, you'll notice that the time for tomorrow is 4 p.m. The session starts at 4. So after we've had our church and our brunch and stuff, join us at 4 p.m. tomorrow. We'll keep to time. So straight up at 4. And then during the week, some of you may have received emails from us. And sorry, we had a typo in that email that said the weekly sessions are starting at 10 or 10:30. That's a mistake. The sessions are all starting at 12 o'clock from Monday. They start at 12 o'clock and will only last about an hour, 30 minutes. So thank you all for joining us. And again, enjoy the rest of your day and see you tomorrow.
In collaboration with Eko Wellness presents the 6th edition of the Eko Wellness Health Matters. This edition will feature therapeutic sessions, reflexology, breathwork, spa sessions, float therapy, mental health conversations, cooking demonstration, shopping session, and many more. The event will start from the 1st of May to the 7th of May 2021 from 12 noon to 2 p.m. daily. To register, please visit www.ekowell.net. Proudly supported by Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Lagos State Ministry of Health, our technical partner, Flutterwave.